Let's go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Heartland Championship Wrestling. My name is Dave Little, and we are coming to you live from the Dave Cave with a Heartland YouTube production event. It is Heartland Havoc 132, the hype show. You can't touch this. From the Omni Auditorium in Atlanta, Georgia. Sponsored by the Atlantic Wrestling Federation and Pro Wrestling Mid-America. It's going to be a big night here in Atlanta. Both the World Championships on the line. Ken Patera, winner of the 2026 Buckeye Bowl, challenging tonight for the World Heavyweight Championship held by Buddy Rogers. Also the NWA World Tag Team Championship on the line. The Midnight Express defending their titles against the ever-dangerous, the ever-unpredictable Mongols. Plus, we've got regional championships on the line. A couple of very intense grudge matches. And the auditorium here is already filling up. Kathy Evans, first in line at the turnstile. Neely Bob, the #1 fan of the Heartland, is here. Frank Wainscott joining us here tonight along with Captain Carl. So it is going to be a lot of fun here tonight from Atlanta. And let's get things kicked off. Ladies and gentlemen, your opening contest of the night is scheduled for one fall with a 60-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect. This is a #1 contenders match for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. The winner of this match will be in line for a world title shot at our next pay-per-view. Both these men former NWA heavyweight champions in their own right, looking to regain their previous glory. Also two men who had a vicious feud back in 2025. So already right off of the get-go, we are going to see fists and fury. Introducing first out of San Francisco, California. He stands at 6'1". He weighs 243 pounds. This is Pat Patterson. And his opponent hails from Marieville, Quebec, Canada. He stands at 5'11" and weighs 255 pounds. He is wrestling's worst nightmare. This is Kevin Steen. So Kevin Steen set to move out against Pat Patterson in tonight's opening contest, a #1 contenders match for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. This could have been a main event in any of our broadcasts in 2025. And here they are opening the show here tonight in Atlanta. Jay Randis joining us just in time for the opening bell. And it is going to be Pat Patterson who takes the opening advantage as they come together in the center of the ring. And we get our fatigue counters, fatigue tokens in play. And as they come together, it is a flying mare by Pat Patterson that takes Kevin Steen over and down to the canvas to get things started here. Pat Patterson tries to take control, a rapid punch combination. Steen getting to his feet. Steen can throw hands with anybody. And it's going to be Pat Patterson with a whip to the turnbuckle. Steen comes off the turnbuckle, and he grabs the arm of Patterson and sends Patterson across the ring into the opposite turnbuckle. And as Patterson bounces off the turnbuckle, it is a big kick from Kevin Steen that stuns Pat Patterson. Steen now in control. What's he going to do? He is going to go for another whip to the turnbuckle. And once again, coming off the turnbuckle, it's Patterson, and this time it is Patterson lifting a knee to the head of the charging Kevin Steen. Patterson now on the offensive. Patterson with jumping stomps, pounding away at Kevin Steen, trying to wear the big man down. Patterson now with the big airplane spin, around and down to the canvas goes Kevin Steen. Slowly, Steen gets to his feet. Patterson's on him. Another series of rapid punches, and this time Steen is going to fire back. Toe-to-toe in the center of the ring, clinched up. Hockey punches being exchanged by both men. And as they come out, it is Pat Patterson connecting on a dropkick that stuns Kevin Steen, but Steen gets right back up to his feet. They come together for more hockey punches in the center of the ring, back and forth, And now it is Patterson who ducks down low, picks up Kevin Steen in a fireman's carry and dumps Kevin Steen throat first across the top rope. And that has taken the starch out of Kevin Steen. Patterson now in control. He is going to go for the figure 4 leg lock. That is going to be an add 1 maneuver here to kick things off. And Steen is going to roll out of the ring and down to the arena floor. Both these men are A-rated brawlers. And on a roll of 6, it is going to be Steen winning the brawl and dropping Patterson stomach first across the steel security railing. Will Steen be disqualified for that? He will not. Steen now in control, and Steen is going to come back with a high angle senton bomb, dropping Pat Patterson hard onto the back of his neck and head. Hitting the mat hard is Patterson. He is down, and Steen is in control, and now Steen is going to go for the F-Sank. That's a finisher. He's got a chance for the pinfall here, and on a roll of 3, he got it. Just like that, Kevin Steen with the F-Sank has defeated Pat Patterson, and Steen will go on to the NWA World Heavyweight Championship match against the winner of tonight's main event at next month's Hype Show. So congratulations to Kevin Steen, winning the first match with the F-Sank. Ouchie, says Neely Bob. Indeed. And for those of you who are not familiar with Kevin Steen's card, the F-Sank, C-I-N-K, that's actually the French word for the number 5. So that is Steen's French-Canadian variation on the F5 that he used to put Patterson away in our opening contest. All right, so 1 match down, 7 to go. Hope you all are ready to batten down the hatches for a fun night here in the Atlanta Omni. Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest is scheduled for 1 fall with a 60-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect. This is a match for the Pro Wrestling Mid-America Tag Team Championship. Introducing first the challengers. Standing at 5'10", weighing 230 pounds, out of San Francisco, California. They call him the Crippler. This is Ray Stevens. So Ray the Crippler Stevens heading down to the ring. Our second match and our second San Francisco native appearing on the show here tonight in Atlanta. His tag team partner hails from Beverly Hills, California. Standing at 6'1", weighing 245 pounds, this is Nick Bockwinkel. So Nick Bockwinkel, Ray Stevens, making their way down to the ring to challenge for the Pro Wrestling Mid-America Tag Team Championship. But they're going to have a tall task indeed, as they have to face your reigning and defending PWMA Tag Team Champions. Accompanied to the ring by the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, representing the faction known as Whatever We Want. First, from the great state of Minnesota, he stands at 6'1" and weighs 256 pounds. This is Ole Anderson. And his tag team partner hails from Borger, Texas. Standing at 6'3", weighing 322 pounds. This is Stan Hansen. So Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson, accompanied by Jimmy Hart, moving out against the challengers for tonight's PWMA Tag Team Championship, the team of Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens. And those of you who tune into the Heartland on a regular basis know that there has been some dissension in the ranks within the Whatever We Want faction. They've already lost the services of Barry Windham, who left Texas to go sign with Ted DiBiase as part of the Golden Dynasty. The team of the other members of the 3W faction, Arn Anderson and Terry Funk, have both expressed their dismay and dissatisfaction with Hart's leadership. But in spite of all of that, Jimmy Hart still manages both the PWMA Tag Team Champions and the Heavyweight Champion, Jackie Fargo, who we will see in action later here tonight in Atlanta. So Hart has tried his best to get his team ready for action as we bring the championship dice into play for this Tag Team Championship contest. All right, and it will be Stan Hansen to start things off against Crippler Stevens as the referee calls for the opening bell. And it's going to be Ray Stevens taking the opening initiative role. And as they come together, it is a headlock applied by Ray Stevens. Stan Hansen powers his way right out of that one and snapmares Ray Stevens over. Tries for the sleeper hold, but Stevens quickly up to one knee. Not going to let that happen. Hansen remains in control with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Ray Stevens, and on a roll of 11, Stevens bounces off the turnbuckle and into an incredible neck-breaking clothesline delivered by Stan Hansen. Stan Hansen with some of the most devastating clotheslines and lariats in the wrestling business, especially when they actually manage to find their mark. And now it is Hansen in control. And he is going to come back and just pitch Ray Stevens out of the ring and down to the arena floor, and here we go. Didn't take long for this action to spill out to the floor, and on a roll of 7, it is Hansen winning the brawl and ramming Ray Stevens back first into the ring apron. And that is not going to feel good. Chiropractic assistance will probably be needed after that move. But Hansen now with the big lariat. That's a +3 finisher. And he goes for the cover, and Stevens able to kick out. But already Stan Hansen taking control in this match, and now it is a double team opportunity for your tag team champions. And it is an awesome double neck breaker delivered by Hansen and Ole as Jimmy Hart cheers on his men at ringside. Ole now in the ring and in control, and he is going to pitch Stevens out of the ring once again. Here we go back to the arena floor. Can Stevens fare any better this time? Indeed he does. It is Stevens who grabs the leg of Ole Anderson and goes on the attack and slams the head of Ole Anderson into the ring post. Ole Anderson now is on Dream Street as Ray Stevens has taken control. And back in the ring, it's going to be Stevens with the bombs away. That's his big top rope knee drop. That's a finisher. He goes for the cover. And on a roll of 3, he may get him. Jimmy Hart attempting the distraction, and Hart just able to distract the referee ahead of the 3 count. Very nearly a victory there for Ray Stevens after the bombs away. And the team of Jimmy Hart lucky to still be in this one. Stevens now, still in control of his man, is going to come back with another bombs away knee drop and another attempt at a cover. This time Ole forced to kick out. And now that's going to open the door for a double team opportunity for the challengers. Into the ring comes Nick Bockwinkel, and they team up for a devastating double team move. That's going to be another add 1 for Ole Anderson. The champions are in trouble here. Bockwinkel with Ole Anderson at his mercy. Bockwinkel now goes to the figure 4 leg lock. Stan Hansen is going to hit the ring and attempts to save his partner. And sure enough, on a roll of 4, it is Hansen dropping the elbow on Nick Bockwinkel to save the submission. Ole Anderson absorbs another point of fatigue. And the champions have now used up all of their pinfall saves. Ole Anderson, however, is in control. The referee putting Hansen out of the ring as Ole comes back with a diving knee smash that stuns Nick Bockwinkel. And now Anderson able to make the legal tag to his partner Stan Hansen. James Lawrence joining us here at ringside as Stan Hansen is in control against Nick Bockwinkel. Hansen now with a Brazos Valley backbreaker, dumping Nick Bockwinkel across his knee. Bockwinkel slowly, finally getting to his feet, beginning to recover. Hansen stays on him, and it is Hansen now thought about a whip to the ropes, thought better of it. He's going to roll up instead and go with a boot to the midsection, and Bockwinkel is unfazed. Bockwinkel fires right back with a big back suplex. Down to the canvas hard goes Stan Hansen. Bockwinkel rolls on top for the cover, and Hansen forced to kick out that time. And just like that, Nick Bockwinkel, the definition of technician, is in control here, and Bockwinkel now has got the sleeper. The Bockwinkel sleeper has been applied. Will we see a submission here? And yes, ladies and gentlemen, he got him. And new tag team champions are crowned here in Atlanta. Nick Bockwinkel with the vaunted Bockwinkel sleeper. Turns the lights out on Stan Hansen, and new champions are crowned here in Atlanta. Bockwinkel and Stevens not exactly fan favorites around the world, but here against Hansen and Anderson, Bockwinkel and Stevens are getting the applause from the crowd as Jimmy Hart takes his men away in disappointment. That Bockwinkel sleeper, a devastating move. Nick Bockwinkel, in the history of Heartland Championship Wrestling, the only man to ever defeat Andre the Giant twice. And both times he did it with that Bockwinkel sleeper. It is legendary. So congratulations to your new Pro Wrestling Mid-America Tag Team Champions, Nick Bockwinkel and Ray the Crippler Stevens. All right, let's take a minute to catch up with the chat here. I believe we have greeted everybody. Jim Lawrence joining us now. Jay Randis, Captain Carl, Neely Bob, Kathy Evans, Frank Wainscott, and Neely Bob with us here in the chat room. And I believe Neely Bob is in the company of some guests, Larry Zbyszko and Shotzi Blackheart, and that is significant. Since we've got some folks here in the chat room, and I may call this out again later tonight, but we've got, it looks like 4 people here. On this week's Heartland highlight reel, the announcement was made that from the Heartland, Cutter Historical joining us now, from the Heartland, we are implementing a brand new concept, and that is the concept of an interpromotional champion. An interpromotional tournament will be held. Any promoter in the Filsinger Games universe who wants to get in on this tournament is certainly willing and invited to do so. The rules are very simple. It is official Filsinger release cards only. So no fictitious characters, no Champions of the Galaxy, no bootlegs. Only official Filsinger Legends of Wrestling released cards will be eligible, and that's just to keep things consistent across the cards. Neely Bob was first in line to join, entering Larry Zbyszko into the men's tournament and Shotzi Blackheart into the women's tournament. And once these tournaments have taken place, any member of the community can host a tournament match. Just say the word and we'll let you run a interpromotional championship tournament match in your own federation, and just post the highlights, and we will have a interpromotional champion crowned for both the men and the women. And once those champions are crowned, they can defend the belts anytime, any place. Just say the word, and someone from your territory can have a match at the interpromotional championship. So that's just something I came up with over the past few weeks. We're going to name it after Kevin Butcher, my dearly departed good friend from Columbus, from the OhioCon posse. Spent many days in wrestling contests and wrestling chats with good old KB, Kevin Butcher. And so it will be the Butcher Interpromotional Championship that we will be creating and defending across the Filsinger Games universe. All right. Let us move on to our next match, and this is going to be a grudge match. And this is not going to be just any old grudge match. This is going to be a dog collar match. I just got to find my my dog collar I thought I had a dog collar match in the booklet. Maybe I don't. Maybe it's under a different name. Let's see, stretcher match, table match. Maybe it's a... Is it a leather strap match or... I apologize for my lack of preparation. A chain match. Okay, here we go. This will not be a chain. This will be a dog collar match, but it'll be the same as a chain match in terms of the rules. In this match, the wrestlers are connected to each other by a steel chain of varying lengths. The goal of the match is to win by pin or submission. All the regular game charts are still used since the chain is long enough to allow the usual moves. We will substitute cage ratings for the pin ratings. And when a wrestler rolls a 1 on any level of offense, they can refer to the chain chart. And sometimes if the match slows down, I will just go back to the chain chart to keep the action going. But these two men have been rivals for a very long time. And in recent weeks and months, their feud has escalated, particularly due to events that took place at the 2026 Buckeye Bowl. So the competitors are in the ring, the chain has been attached, and it's time now for our introductions as David Cheslinski joins us here tonight in the chat room. Introducing first, out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He stands at 6'1". He weighs 319 pounds. This is Angelo MOSCA. Angelo MOSCA, now affiliated with the Heenan family, after MOSCA and Big John Studd found their way together at the Buckeye Bowl to join forces. And his opponent hails from Benton Harbor, Michigan. He stands at 6'4". He weighs 280 pounds. This is Bobo Brazil. Bobo Brazil, Angelo MOSCA, set to do battle in this dog collar match. And of course the grudge match dice are in effect for this one. And as they come together in the ring, it is Angelo MOSCA on the attack with a forearm smash. And Bobo is going to fire right back and take Angelo MOSCA down with the head scissors. And on a roll of 1, it is Bobo Brazil who is going to put the chain into play right off of the jump. And on a roll of 11, Bobo uses the chain to tie the opponent to the turnbuckle post and uses a variety of deadly maneuvers on them. So Bobo has got King Kong Angelo MOSCA tied to the turnbuckle post, and he is wailing away with punches, with headbutts. Bobo Brazil, known for his big headbutts. And of course using the dog collar chain itself to just lay a beating on Angelo MOSCA. And now as MOSCA gets untied, Bobo Brazil is going to go right to the cover. And MOSCA already in trouble here, as Bobo Brazil has taken the measure of King Kong MOSCA in the beginning phases of this dog collar match. Bobo now is going to go for another big headbutt. He's going to go for a cover again and again. MOSCA able to kick out. But MOSCA is on Goofy Street as Bobo Brazil continues to pound away, now whipping Angelo MOSCA over the top rope and out of the ring and trying to choke on him with that dog collar. But on the arena floor, it is Angelo MOSCA who is able to retaliate and pull Bobo Brazil out of the ring and down to the arena floor and slam the head of Bobo Brazil into the ring apron. Jim Lawrence is here, professional wrestling referee extraordinaire, and he'll be the first to tell you that the ring apron is the hardest part of the ring. Charles Helms, Charles H6190, good evening to you, my friend. Good to see you, man. As Bobo now is in trouble, and Angelo MOSCA with a smash to the side of the face with his elbow that is going to lead to Bobo going down. Angelo with a quick pinfall attempt. That's not going to happen. Both these men just beating the stuffings out of each other. And now it is MOSCA who is going to put the steel chain in play. On a roll of 10, it is MOSCA who goes berserk, choking the opponent with the chain. MOSCA is choking Bobo Brazil with the steel chain right here in Atlanta. And MOSCA gets to continue his attack after that. And this time it is MOSCA who winds up the chain around his fist and tries to punch him. But the Bobo Brazil ducks the punch and smacks Angelo MOSCA across the chest with that very steel chain. And now Bobo is getting to his feet. Both these men are gassed. Bobo now is in control. He is going to go up, I believe, for a death jump. He's coming up to the top turnbuckle. He's got that steel chain wrapped around his fist. And he comes off the turnbuckle and nails Angelo MOSCA with that steel chain wrapped around his fist. Bobo back in control. Out of the ring we go once again. What other shenanigans could happen here? Bobo Brazil, what's he going to do? And it's going to be Bobo Brazil picking up a foreign object. As if the chain wasn't enough, he now has the ring steps picked up, and he is going to attempt to slam those ring steps onto the head of Angelo MOSCA. But MOSCA kicks Bobo Brazil in the midsection. The steps fall to the floor, and MOSCA slams the head of Bobo Brazil onto the steel ring steps. Bobo got a step ahead of himself there, and MOSCA made him pay. And now it is MOSCA with a big right hand. MOSCA now going to the chain chart once again. And on a roll of 7, it is MOSCA hammering away on the face of Bobo Brazil, and Bobo Brazil now has been busted open. Bobo Brazil trying to fight through the pain. MOSCA stays on the offensive. MOSCA now drops a leg on Bobo. As Bobo goes down to one knee, MOSCA kicks him again. Bobo bravely getting to his feet. MOSCA with a forearm smash. Bobo back down to one knee. MOSCA back to the chain chart he goes. And again, MOSCA pounding away on Bobo Brazil with that chain. Bobo Brazil, his mask is the crimson face. His face is the crimson mask. But as MOSCA tries to stay on the attack, it is Bobo who pulls the chain and catches MOSCA with the chain right between the wicket. And now it is MOSCA slumping to his knees, as the great equalizer has been performed by Bobo Brazil with the help of the steel chain. MOSCA is down. Bobo pitches MOSCA out of the ring again. And on the arena floor, it is MOSCA again winning the brawl on the arena floor. MOSCA again busting Bobo open with the chain. This match is a bloody mess. MOSCA with a big right hand. He goes for the cover, but Bobo able to kick out. Bobo not ready to give this one up yet. And now the sleeper has been applied by MOSCA. This could be lights out for Bobo Brazil. And sure enough, Bobo Brazil is out. And Angelo MOSCA is your winner. MOSCA busted open Bobo Brazil with that dog collar. And after Bobo's attempt at a comeback was unsuccessful, MOSCA got behind him, got that chain wrapped around his neck, and put his lights out. The fans here in Atlanta are stunned and shocked. But Angelo MOSCA is your winner. And Bobo Brazil busted open and knocked unconscious in the center of the ring in just a bloodbath of a grudge match between those two men. And a celebration from the nation of Canada, led by Cutter Historical, as their man Angelo MOSCA, star of the Canadian Football League and star of Worldwide Wrestling Federation has taken the measure of Bobo Brazil here in Atlanta. All right, time for a quick drink. And we will move on to our next grudge match of the night. This match brought to you by Pro Wrestling Mid-America, again stemming from events that took place at Buckeye Bowl 2026 between two established rivals. At the Buckeye Bowl, it was John Layfield who was on a roll. He was hitting lariats left and right, putting folks out of the ring, man after man after man, until he got it from behind with Diamond Dallas Page with the Diamond Cutter, and that was the end of Layfield's tenure in the Buckeye Bowl. Those two men already had beef, and after DDP eliminated Layfield from the Buckeye Bowl, this match was signed in the steel cage. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall to a finish. No time limit, no disqualification, and none of this escaping the cage nonsense. This match will end only by pinfall, by submission, or by knockout. Introducing first, out of New York City, standing at 6'5", weighing 297 pounds, this is John Layfield. And his opponent hails from the Jersey Shore of New Jersey. He stands at 6'5" and weighs 253 pounds. This is Diamond Dallas Page. So Page, for a long time, has been one of the most popular men in the Heartland. And Layfield, few if any friends to call his own. So here we are in the steel cage, and as they come together, oh, it's going to be shenanigans off of the get-go. What kind of shenanigans will we see? Only the face to the Matt Highlight Center booklet will know the answer to that. And on a roll of 53, it is John Layfield coming up with a foreign object out of his tights. And Layfield had some brass knuckles in his tights, and he just wails on Diamond Dallas Page with those brass knuckles. And Page already on the receiving end of a point of fatigue as Layfield snuck a set of brass knuckles into the cage. And Diamond Dallas Page is hurt. Layfield whipped to the turnbuckle. Coming off the turnbuckle is Page, and Page eats a big kick from Layfield as Layfield takes control. Layfield now hits that last call, and Diamond Dallas Page is hurt once again. Layfield keeps the pressure on, swinging neckbreaker, dumping Page down to the mat once again. And now Layfield with another last call, and Page continues to be hurt. Page continues to struggle to his feet. And now Layfield drops the elbow again. A third elbow drop, and this time Page rolls out of the way, and Layfield hits the canvas hard. Diamond Dallas Page now with an arm twist. Shoulder rams into the midsection. Layfield pinned against the corner as Page continues to pummel him. Drop toe hold attempted by Page. Layfield grabs the ropes and stands his ground. Layfield now in control and just shoves Diamond Dallas Page out of his face. They come right back together in the center of the ring. Bad mouthing being exchanged, and Diamond Dallas Page is going to dodge a straight right hand from Layfield, and it is Page instead with a Russian leg sweep that takes Layfield down to the mat. Both men quickly get to their feet. Page is on him again. Another shoulder smash into the turnbuckle. Page now follows that up with a series of punches. And he is now going to attempt a standing drop kick, but Layfield got out of the way of the standing drop kick, and Layfield now in control with another swinging neck breaker, and Diamond Dallas Page is hurt. And Diamond Dallas Page is stunned by that. Layfield now following up with more of those punishing elbow drops. Page is hurt, And Layfield stays on him, whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Page, and again a big elbow smash. Delivered right to the noggin by Layfield. Stuns Diamond Dallas Page. Layfield now another swinging neck breaker. Diamond Dallas Page will not stay down. Elbow drops continue. Page to his feet. And Page with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Layfield, and on a roll of 7, it is a high back body drop. Delivered by Diamond Dallas Page. Layfield goes down. And now it is a swinging neck breaker delivered by Diamond Dallas Page. Both these men seem to appreciate the value of that move. And now a big discus clothesline from Page. That stuns Layfield and puts him down. Both men slowly getting to their feet. Page first to his feet, another Russian leg sweep. For a grudge match, we sure are seeing a lot of wrestling. And now Page goes to the sit-out powerbomb, and Layfield hits the canvas hard. Page goes for a cover, just a token cover, and Layfield forced to kick out. And now Page is going to go up for a death jump. Death jump to be attempted by Diamond Dallas Page, and on a roll of 6, he nailed him. Flying clothesline off of that top turnbuckle. Layfield down once again. And now Page with the Diamond Dream. Going to try and put him asleep right here in Atlanta. But Layfield able to get back up to one knee. Page stays on him. Another big clothesline stuns Layfield. Both men on wobbly legs now. A gut wrench by DDP. Takes Layfield back down to the canvas. Page with a big suplex. Layfield down once again and getting right back up. Another swinging neckbreaker attempted by Page. Layfield again getting to his feet. And now another big sit-out powerbomb by Diamond Dallas Page. Both these men are gassed. Page first to his feet. Another sit-out powerbomb. Page keeping on the pressure with another Russian leg sweep. Both these men in the center of the ring going hold for hold, move for move. Big suplex by Diamond Dallas Page. Layfield continues to battle back. Another clothesline from Page. Layfield still will not leave his feet. And now Layfield blocks the suplex attempt by Page. And it is Layfield coming back with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Diamond Dallas Page, and on a roll of 10, it is both men hitting each other with a double running clothesline. Both men are down. First to his feet is Layfield. Layfield puts Page back on the canvas with a short arm clothesline. Layfield now with another swinging neck breaker. Page slowly getting to his feet. Layfield on him, another whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Page, and again, it is Layfield with a big right hand to the side of the head that stuns Diamond Dallas Page. Elbow drops onto the fallen Diamond Dallas Page. Now another swinging neck breaker, and out of nowhere, it is DDP who gets out of the swinging neck breaker and nails Layfield with the diamond cutter. Count of 1, 2, 3. Out of nowhere, Diamond Dallas Page comes up with the diamond cutter to put Layfield on his keister and score the pinfall victory. Congratulations to Diamond Dallas Page winning that match in the steel cage with a diamond cutter out of nowhere. That's what DDP does, and if you've seen his card, he's got that mechanic. On level 3 defense, he does have a mechanic on a roll of 6 that enables him to counter any move with the diamond cutter. And he was able to do that to Layfield and score the pinfall victory out of nowhere. Cutter Historical, the Diamond Cutter. We should start calling you Diamond Cutter Historical. That's a new nickname here tonight in Atlanta. All right, we are now halfway through tonight's show. Only in America, says Mark Ferguson. And we now are ready for some more title matches. We've already seen one title change hands here tonight, as the Pro Wrestling Mid-America Tag Team Championship has been won by Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens, with an exciting victory over the team of Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson. Well, my last name legit is Diamond. Oh, well, how about that? It is Diamond Cutter indeed, Cutter Historical. It's great to have you here tonight. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for adding some flavor to tonight's broadcast. Once again, for those of you who just joined us and did not hear the announcement earlier in the show, Heartland Championship Wrestling is sponsoring an inter-promotional tournament to crown the Butcher inter-promotional champions. A men's champion and a women's champion will be crowned. And if you go to my my YouTube page and dial it back to the Heartland highlight reel that was published this past Friday, you can hear the details, and you too can enter a card in the Filsinger inter-promotional tournament. All right, and now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your next title match of the evening, brought to you by the Atlantic Wrestling Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall. With a 60-minute time limit, disqualification rules will be in effect. This match is for the Atlantic Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first the challenger from Florence, Ontario, Canada. Another Canadian doing his country proud. He stands at 6 foot even. He weighs 232 pounds. This is Eric Young. Eric Young may be considered the underdog in this match, but he has surprised some people. Most recently, he surprised Tony Atlas with a big victory on consecutive spike pile drivers to earn his opportunity for tonight's title match. But his opponent is your reigning and defending and formidable Atlantic Heavyweight Champion out of Tampa, Florida. He stands at an even 6 foot tall. He weighs 258 pounds. This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. So Paul Orndorff here in Atlanta, set to defend the Atlantic Heavyweight Championship against Eric Young, a surprise but capable challenger indeed is Eric Young. And it is Eric Young who gets the opening initiative role. And it is Young coming out with an attempt at a Death Valley driver. That is a power move. And the power difference between Young and Orndorff is obvious to anybody. That ain't going to work. And Paul Orndorff takes over on the offensive with a series of brutal knee lifts. And right away, Orndorff just putting his knees to Eric Young and forcing Eric Young down to the mat. And what's Orndorff going to do now? He is going to pitch Young out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And here we go. And it is Orndorff going to win the brawl on the arena floor and drop Eric Young stomach first across the steel security railing. Orndorff now in control, and he goes right to the pile driver. That's his finisher. Can he get a quick win here? He does not. But Eric Young feels the jumping pile driver right off of the get-go. And respect has definitely been earned. Orndorff stays on his man. He is going to go up for a death jump. Death jump attempt coming up. And on a roll of 3, that's bad news for Mr. Wonderful. He was a step slow getting to the top turnbuckle. Eric Young grabs Orndorff and pitches him down to the mat hard. Eric Young now in control. And it is going to be Eric Young hitting a moonsault. Didn't get all of it. Orndorff slowly getting to his feet. Young still in control. Thought about a whip to the turnbuckle, and instead he is going to go with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Mr. Wonderful. And on a roll of 3, it is Eric Young with the mistake this time. He sets his head too soon. Orndorff comes off the ropes and nails Eric Young with a DDT. Young now is down and Orndorff is in control. A big forearm dropped across the neck by Paul Orndorff. Orndorff continues to punish Young with brutal knee lifts. He's going to go once again for the cover. Once again, Young forced to kick out. But that is another point of fatigue inflicted upon tonight's challenger. And now another forearm across the neck, delivered by Paul Orndorff, methodically punishing his challenger. Orndorff now with more of those brutal knee lifts, and another cover, and another kick out by Eric Young. but Eric Young has noticeably been weakened by the offensive onslaught of Paul Orndorff. And now Orndorff is going to try that death jump move again. That didn't go so good for him the first time, and once again he is a step slow, and once again Young caught him and pitched Orndorff headfirst down to the canvas. Eric Young now back in control, and he is going to try a wheelbarrow neckbreaker. Wheelbarrow neckbreaker attempted by Eric Young, and he got his man down. Young back in control. He's going to try that again. This time Orndorff slowly able to get to his feet. Young stays on him, and Young with a swinging neckbreaker is going to go for the cover. And on a roll of 10, Orndorff able to kick out. Orndorff now on the receiving end of some punishment. Eric Young showing his resilience, coming back from the jaws of defeat to take the fight to Orndorff, and now the spike pile driver. Spike pile driver has been hit. The pin roll here is 5, and on a roll of 5, he got him. Wow, what an upset. Right here in Atlanta, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Young has shocked the world with a pile driver. And much like we saw with Tony Atlas, it was Eric Young with the comeback. Just when you had counted him out, Young with that spike pile driver out of nowhere. And probably some tactical errors by Orndorff in that match. Twice, Orndorff had his man down and attempted to go to the top turnbuckle, which is not Orndorff's best method of attack. And both times he tried that, he paid the price. And on the second time, paying the price meant he ate the spike pile driver from Eric Young, who is your new Atlantic heavyweight champion. Major upset here in Atlanta. Congratulations to your new Atlantic heavyweight champion, the one and only Eric Young. Mr. Blunderful does it again. You absolutely got that right. You must have gotten that from Bobby Heenan or somebody. All right, we got 3 matches to go. I'm going to take a very short break and try and refresh my voice here a little bit. I do have a history of some chronic sinus issues, and after a good bit of joviality with the voice, I do tend to run a little hoarse. So I'm going to take a short break and be back with our remaining shows momentarily. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and it is time for our next championship match of the night. This match is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Mid-America, with the PWMA Heavyweight Championship on the line. It's been a rough night so far for Jimmy Hart. This is his last opportunity to regain some face here in light of the earlier loss of his tag team championships and the ongoing discontent in the ranks of Hart's faction, Whatever We Want. Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 60-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect. This match is for the Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, out of Coldwater, Michigan. He stands at 6'2" and weighs 251 pounds. This is the Beast, Dan Severn. And his opponent is your reigning and defending Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Champion. He is accompanied to the ring by the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Standing at 5'11", weighing 251 pounds, hailing from Charlotte, North Carolina, this is your Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Champion, Jackie Fargo. Local honey, 2 teaspoons a day. I'm going to have to give that a try. Thanks for the suggestion, Mark Ferguson, and appreciate that. So yeah, Jackie Fargo, a long-standing Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Champion. He has been through some wars and surprisingly managed to hold that belt very proudly for quite some time now. But Dan Severn is here and he is ready for battle. He has been a thorn in the side of the entire Whatever We Want faction. In fact, Severn and his associate Ron Garvin battled the Whatever We Want faction throughout 2025 in a rivalry that was deemed the Heartland Championship Wrestling Feud of the Year for the year 2025. And now Severn has a chance to start off 26 with the ultimate blow to Whatever We Want if he can dethrone Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Champion Jackie Fargo. And as they come together in the center of the ring, it is Fargo taking the immediate advantage with a side headlock, and Severn immediately breaks right out of that. Severn, MMA fighter, mat technician, grappler extraordinaire. He's not going to fall prey to a side headlock, and instead it is Severn attempting a gut-wrench suplex. This is a choice F maneuver, so he will need a roll of 7 or lower to hit that. And on a roll of 7, he got Fargo over and down to the canvas. Fargo is down, Severn is on him. And Severn picks him up over and down to the mat hard with a fireman's carry slam. Nicely executed by Dan Severn, taking control here with his ground game. And now going to attempt that gut-wrench suplex once again. And once again, Jackie Fargo is over and down. Fargo gets to his feet. And as Severn comes in, oh, it's a flurry of punches to the lower abdomen delivered by Jackie Fargo. As Severn came in, but Severn's going to fire right back. And Severn, with another fireman's carry slam, takes Fargo back down to the canvas. Severn, a mat technician of the highest magnitude. And now an elbow smash attempted by by Severn. That is an agility move, and Fargo is able to duck out of the way of that one. Fargo with the agility advantage in this match. Severn, of course, the more powerful of the two men. And now it is Fargo with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Dan Severn. And on a roll of 6, that is the drop down and go the other way. And as Severn comes back off the ropes the other way, it is Jackie Fargo with a running back elbow that stuns Dan Severn. Fargo now in control, firing back with some more body blows to Severn. Severn is going to fire right back. He attempts an elbow smash and misses. Fargo maintaining control now with a spinning, roaring forearm to the side of the head, and Dan Severn has been stunned. Fargo scores with that strike, and now another roaring forearm puts Dan Severn down onto the mat. This is Fargo's opportunity to do some damage here, and he goes right to a ringside weapon. What does Fargo have up his sleeve? He's got knitting needles. Oh no, the dreaded knitting needles are back in play. Where's JT 2.0 when you need him? Those knitting needles once belonged to his wife, and now Fargo is using those knitting needles to cut open a new one of the forehead. We may see a disqualification here. No, we will not. As Jimmy Hart able to distract the referee from the use of those knitting needles. And Dan Severn now is going to take a point of fatigue for that, and he is still down. As Fargo goes back to the knitting needles yet again. And the referee is once again oblivious to Fargo's use of that nasty weapon, as Severn now is slowly trying to get to his knees and defend himself against the vile onslaught of the knitting needles. And now it is Fargo once again with a whip to the ropes. Severn comes off the ropes, and Fargo again catches him with a running back elbow. A travesty of justice here in Atlanta, as another roaring forearm by Fargo puts Severn back down on his backside. Fargo now with a jumping stomp. Severn slowly getting to his feet. Fargo stays on him. Another roaring forearm puts SEVERN back down again. Can FARGO do some more damage here? He goes back to the foreign object. And this time he has got the a title belt. He's got his title belt. And he rings the bell of Dan SEVERN with his title belt. Again, SEVERN takes a point of fatigue. SEVERN now rolling out of the ring and down to the arena floor. But on the arena floor, it is Jackie FARGO with a cannonball off of the ring apron that stuns Dan SEVERN and puts him back down on his tail. SEVERN making that helpless crawl back into the ring. FARGO ready and waiting. He's got the atomic drop loaded up. That is his +2 finisher. The pin roll here is 8, and on a roll of 7, he got him. So Dan SEVERN was looking good with the mat wrestling to start off that match. But once FARGO cut loose with those knitting needles and the foreign objects and the title belts and all the other shenanigans that FARGO consistently has up his sleeve, SEVERN just could not keep up. And with the use of the atomic drop, it is Jackie FARGO getting the pinfall, your reigning and defending, and still Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Champion. All right, we're up to 7 folks in the chat room. Hope you all are enjoying tonight's matches. We have 2 matches to go, and these are your World Championship matches for the evening. As we put things back together, Jimmy Hart at least able to go home with one gold belt, courtesy of Jackie FARGO, and the fallout from HANSEN and Anderson losing, and the discontent among the members of Whatever We Want is going to be the subject of continued scrutiny in the weeks to come. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 60-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect, and they may come in handy in this one. This match is for the NWA World Tag Team Championship. Introducing first the challengers. They hail from Zagreb, Croatia, at a total combined weight of 570 pounds. This is Bolo and Gito, the Mongols. So the Mongols working their way up through the ranks in Patriot Championship Wrestling to earn this opportunity here tonight to challenge for the belts held by your reigning and defending NWA World Tag Team Champions, accompanied to the ring by the one and only Jim Cornette. First, out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, he stands at 6'1" and weighs 225 pounds. The man with the educated feet, this is Sweet Stan Lane. And his tag team partner hails from Huntsville, Alabama, standing at an even 6 foot, weighing 233 pounds. This is beautiful Bobby Eaton. So the Midnight Express, beautiful Bobby and Sweet Stan Lane, set to do battle with a couple of guys that are neither beautiful nor sweet, in Bolo and Gito, the Mongols. Once again, you would think the Midnight Express would be favored in this match, but we've seen more than one upset already here tonight, as Genghis Khan's favorite team comes down to challenge for the championships. And it will be Sweet Stan Lane starting things off against Bolo Mongol. And as they come together in the center of the ring, it will be Sweet Stan Lane taking the early advantage. And it is Sweet Stan Lane who dodges a blow from Bolo Mongol and picks him up with a back suplex and dumps him on the back of his head in the center of the ring. Lane applauding himself, Jim Cornette delighted at ringside. As Bolo gets to his feet, they come back together again. And this time it is Bolo Mongol attempting a running kick to the chest. Lane very smartly sidestepping that. And Lane coming back with a spin kick that stuns Bolo Mongol. Lane has gotten the best of the first two exchanges here. Bobby Eaton yucking it up with Lane at ringside. Bolo getting to his feet once again. His face is reddened with anger at the treatment, and now it is Bolo Mongol who grabs Lane by the arm, whipped to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Stan Lane, and a big kick by Bolo Mongol stuns Stan Lane. Bolo now in control. Bolo with a headlock and a thumb jab. That's a dirty tactic. Stan Lane does not appreciate that. He's not able to make the tag. Jim Cornette is making some noise at ringside about that and swearing up and down that his men would never, under any circumstances, bend the rules of the beloved sport of professional wrestling. But Bolo Mongol is unfazed by that, and he is going to go for a big body slam. And Lane slips out the back door of the body slam, and instead it is Lane with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Bolo Mongol, and this time it is Lane with a big kick that stuns Bolo Mongol. Lane will tag in Bobby Eaton now for the first time. Bobby Eaton moving in against Bolo Mongol. And it is Eaton with a vertical suplex that puts Bolo Mongol down onto his backside. Bolo Mongol is down. And Eaton now is going to go up for the dark side. This is a finisher. It is the Vegematic. Lane goes up to the top rope. Eaton with the Vegematic. He flies through the air. He lands on Bolo Mongol. Guido's got to try a pinfall here. Guido cannot make the pinfall. And on a roll of 8, Bolo is just able to kick out. So right off of the get-go, the Vegematic connected by the Midnight Express. And Bolo Mongol is in some trouble here. Lane now once again the legal man in the ring. What is Lane going to do? Lane is going to go down for a crawling headbutt. This is a choice F maneuver. He'll need 7 or lower to hit that. And he does stun Bolo with that crawling headbutt. And Bolo back down on his backside. Lane now, a midnight lariat, that left arm lariat. Good impact on that one, stunning Bolo Mongol. Lane stays on the offensive with a spin kick, putting those educated feet to good use. As Jim Cornette would say, the left one went to Yale, the right one went to Harvard. And Bolo Mongol has just felt the effects of both of them. And now here is a Russian leg sweep delivered by Stan Lane. He's going to go for the cover. And on a roll of 11, Bolo able to kick out, but Bolo in big trouble here, as he has been in it the whole match. And now it is the Midnight Seesaw. This is another submission hold, a double team move. Can he escape? Yes, he can. But now that's 3 points of fatigue, and it is going to be Guido Mongol coming in on the interference, trying to turn the tide in favor. And now we've got all 4 wrestlers in the ring. All 4 wrestlers are in the ring duking it out. And it is going to be the Midnight Express dominating that brawl, as Eaton, the first one to hit the ring. Lane takes the tennis racket from Jim Cornette and gives Guido a swat with it. Lane is now back in control, and now they're going to go up for the flapjack, the double team flapjack, and the cover, and they got it. So Bolo Mongol suffers the pinfall, and Guido never did get very involved in that match, as the teamwork of the Midnight Express leads them to a flawless victory and a successful title defense here in Atlanta. Jim Cornette, of course, letting the whole world know about the prowess of his tag team. Giving thanks to Mama Cornette for her financial backing of this very successful tag team, still your NWA World Tag Team Champions. So congratulations to beautiful Bobby and sweet Stan Lane, the Midnight Express, for a successful title defense here tonight in Atlanta over a very overmatched set of the Mongols. All right, And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your main event. Mark Ferguson thought that would be more competitive. I can't say that I'm surprised that Eaton and Lane put them aside with such great efficiency. Jim Lawrence would agree that was a quick one indeed. All right, and last reminder before we go to the main event, entries are being accepted for the for the Butcher Interpromotional Championship Tournament. Any promoter may choose to enter any Filsinger wrestler officially released card into the tournament, and once we get a good number of entries, we will set up some brackets. Neil Lau has already brought forward Larry Zbyszko and Shotzi Blackheart to participate in that tournament. Grant Pachoco, the solo promoter, has expressed interest in hosting some matches on the Solo Promoter YouTube channel. Very, very fine channel indeed. So yeah, this tournament is starting to come together. If you want to hear more, check out the Heartland highlight reel that was published earlier this week with all of the details. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your main event. Duffer Man is here just in time for tonight's main event. The following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 60-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect, as this match is for the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Introducing first the challenger. He stands at 6'2". He weighs 297 pounds. Out of Portland, Oregon. He is your 2026 Buckeye Bowl winner. And he is the Olympic strongman Ken Patera. So Ken Patera cashing in his hard-earned shot at the NWA World Championship here tonight in Atlanta. But he is going to have a tall task indeed, as his opponent is the reigning and defending NWA World Heavyweight Champion out of Camden, New Jersey. He stands at 6'1". He weighs 227 pounds. He is the original Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers. So Buddy Rogers, Ken Patera, moving out here tonight. And gosh, I think I bumped my camera or something here. We are all over the place. Let's readjust our angles on things here. Make sure that everything is just in the right place for our main event of the evening. Gold medal in throwing boulders through McDonald's windows. All right. So Ken Patera will try and throw Buddy Rogers through the air here in Atlanta in an effort to win the heavyweight championship, and it will be Ken Patera on the offensive as they come together in the center of the ring. Patera immediately goes to choking his man on the top rope and snapping that rope backwards, sending Buddy Rogers tumbling down, but Rogers very quick to his feet. And as they come together again, Rogers attempts a running tackle, and that is going to be effectively worthless as a power move. Ken Patera, very powerful man indeed, and Patera absorbs that and comes back with a front face lock takedown attempt. Rogers on the reversal of that takedown attempt, and Rogers with a jumping knee smash just nails Ken Patera right smack dab in the sternum. And Ken Patera tumbles out of the ring and down to the arena floor. Out of the ring we go. Both these men B-rated brawlers. And on the arena floor, Ken Patera drags Buddy Rogers out of the ring and slams Buddy Rogers onto the announcer's table. Big move there by Ken Patera to take control. And if Patera is going to hold his own in this match, it's going to be through his power and through his brawling. And now it is Patera attempting a knee smash of his own. This is a choice C maneuver. He'll need a roll of 6 or lower to hit that. And on a roll of 11, Buddy Rogers is able to avoid the knee smash, and it is Buddy Rogers who comes back and stuns Ken Patera with a hard punch right to the bridge of the nose. Patera stunned by that, and Rogers stays on his man with a flying dropkick. Right smack dab into the mush. Rogers with that dropkick goes for the quick cover and forces Patera to kick out. Buddy Rogers now back in his element. is going to go for an elbow drop, but Patera rolls out of the way of the elbow drop. And it is Patera coming back with a backbreaker drop, dumping Buddy Rogers onto the back of his head. Another show of power by Ken Patera has Buddy Rogers in trouble. And now Ken Patera thinking about a death jump. I don't know about this move, but he's going up there. And on a roll of 6, he nailed it. Death jump by Ken Patera. Flying double axe handle off the top turnbuckle stuns Buddy Rogers. I didn't have that on my bingo card, but now here's a bear hug applied by Ken Patera, trying to weaken Buddy Rogers. Rogers trying to fight his way out of that. Gets his hands under the chin of Patera to loosen the pressure on that. Patera then shifts gears and goes with dumping Rogers to the ground again. And now it's Patera coming off with a knee drop off of the second rope that scores right into the chest of Buddy Rogers. Rogers down once again, and Patera with a big suplex. Both men getting to their feet. Patera still in control. Another backbreaker drop, and this time it is Buddy Rogers who's going to roll out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And once again, it is Patera on the arena floor with a body slam to Buddy Rogers. Wow. I don't know if Patera can beat Buddy Rogers, but at the end of the night, Buddy Rogers is going to know he was in a fight. Patera now is in control, and Patera once again going to go up for the death jump. And once again, he nails a flying clothesline off of the top rope. Buddy Rogers caught by surprise by that move. He is down, and Patera now is going to go once again for the knee smash on a roll of 6 or lower. This time he connects. And Buddy Rogers staggers a few steps backward. Rogers collecting himself. Both men coming back together in the center of the ring. And this time it is Rogers catching a headlock as they come together. Rogers works the headlock. And now, Rogers with a slap to the face of Ken Patera as Patera broke the headlock. And Rogers strutting around, very arrogant, after that slap to the side of the face. And now as they come together again, it is Rogers with a hip toss, taking Patera over and down to the canvas. So Patera did some damage, but really didn't, or got some good power moves in there, but really didn't do any damage to Buddy Rogers, as Rogers now is back in control with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Patera, but on a roll of 5, that's a running shoulder tackle by Patera that knocks Rogers back down to the canvas. Patera now with a big backbreaker drop onto the back of the head. Rogers again rolls out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And this time it is going to be both men fixing to brawl on the arena floor. We may see disqualifications here. Rogers will not be disqualified. Patera will not be disqualified. And once again, it is Ken Patera winning the brawl on the arena floor and ramming the back of Buddy Rogers into the ring apron. Perhaps trying to soften up Buddy Rogers for another bear hug or his big full Nelson finisher. And as they come back into the ring, it's the bear hug. And Rogers again rolling out of the ring and down to the arena floor to escape the bear hug. And once again, it is Patera controlling the action on the arena floor and now slamming the head of Buddy Rogers into the ring post. Buddy Rogers taking all kinds of a beating from Ken Patera, but Patera just cannot find the winning combination to put Rogers down for any sort of pin attempt. Patera going to try that death jump move again, and this time Rogers caught him. This time Rogers caught him and throws Ken Patera down to the canvas. Rogers now in control. Rogers pitching Patera out of the ring. The brawl goes out to the arena floor once again, and this time it is Buddy Rogers with an Irish whip sending Ken Patera crashing into the ring steps. Rogers now back in control. Atomic drop in the center of the ring. Patera again leaving the ring. And this time it is Buddy Rogers again with a diving clothesline off of the ring apron that puts Patera back onto the mat. Rogers rolling back into the ring. Patera forced to make that helpless crawl. Rogers is waiting. He's got the figure 4 grapevine teed up. Will Patera submit here? Yes, he does. And just like that, figure 4 grapevine applied. And after a brutal slugfest, surprising the brutality in that match, and Buddy Rogers Finally, with a couple of moves on the arena floor, setting up Ken Patera for the Figure 4 Grapevine and the finish. Your winner and still NWA World Heavyweight Champion is the Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers. Buddy Rogers successfully defending the Heavyweight Championship here in Atlanta with a victory over a very rugged and powerful and punishing competitor in Ken Patera. So congratulations to Buddy Rogers. Your winner in tonight's main event here at You Can't Touch This, our hype show from Atlanta, Heartland Havoc 132. Thank you all for tuning in to tonight's broadcast. Mark Ferguson, Dufferman, Jim Lawrence, Neil Lau, Cutter Historical, the Diamond Cutter, Charles Helms, David Cheslinski, Jay Randis, Captain Carl, Frank Wainscott, and Kathy Evans. Thank you all for tuning in to tonight's broadcast. And once again, if you want to sign up for the Butcher Interpromotional Tournament, you want to enter somebody, you want to run some matches, you want to have some stake in the game, check out the Heartland highlight reel that was produced and published on, I believe I recorded it on Thursday and published it on Friday to my YouTube channel. You can get the details there, and you can enter your entrance in the chat there, and we will get something set up in the next few weeks. And ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap things up for tonight. Tomorrow, for those of you who are so inclined, my Journey with Jesus will be back on the channel. So feel free to swing by for the weekly devotional video for those of you who may be interested. Otherwise, we should be back on the airwaves next weekend with more excitement from Heartland Championship Wrestling. And until then, that's our show, and I am out of here.